I often get asked, what do tankers do when they're not actually out tanking? Today I'm going to show you one of those things, but I'll have a more in-depth video coming soon. And one of those things is called layouts. It's basically where we take out the tools that you use for certain things in vehicles to keep them working, in this case, a tank. We take inventory of these things and inspect them and then put them on order if they need to get replaced or get new issued. And also to make sure you just got everything. Now let's go look at some of these tools that keeps the tank rolling. Officers will come by and we'll go line by line, item by item to make sure we have everything that we need. This is the stuff for your crows or your common remote operated weapon station that the TC has, in our case a 50 cal. This is your breech operating lever that you use to open and close and manipulate the breech of the main armament. A random troop phone that we never use. These are your shackles you use for tie down and transport operations. Those like to go missing a lot. These are the solenoids for your cruise system, so it's an electrical system that makes your weapons fire from the weapon station. A lot of old timers appreciate these. Yes, we still account for these moonbeams in this day and age where everyone has a headlamp. Here's your end connector puller pump. You use that to get the end connectors off with your track. Asbestos mittens you use to grip the hot barrels of weapons. Oh, these are your IR lenses, and they get affixed to your headlight during low light operations. These are your whale tails that you attach to your tank. That way you can attach your tow cable and tow your tank in rough terrain. Ideally on flat surfaces you want to use your tow bar. If you use your tow bar in rough terrain, there's a great chance that you could break your tow bar. This is your chain hoist so you could drop your breech so that way you can service your breech block. Hard copy manuals for the tank. Yes, it takes 4. This is a plug you put in your heater when you're doing wash rack operations so you don't get water in there and end up messing up your heater. Another is the impact gun that comes with your tank. This one connects to the battery slave receptacle of the tank. One of those ports is right here on the back right of the tank. There's another one in the driver's hole. Another is your cookie cutter. This is what you put on the end of a round to pull it out of the breech. If that doesn't work, you grab this thing called your bell reamer and you put it through the muzzle of the main gun. You do that with your staff sections that make one giant rod to push it out. We'll attach this brush too, so that way we can just pull it through and clean the barrel. We'll also attach rags there as well. This here is your chamber brush. These here are your track jacks. You put one end of track in each one. These will open on up, and then you close on up with a ratchet or an impact gun will squeeze the track together, so that way you can put end connectors back on and reassemble the track. This is your spanner wrench. We always call it a sickle, and that way you use it to dismantle the shroud on your barrel, so that way you can clean it. We call this the dog bone. This is what goes on with the suspension arm, and then you drive, and that way that suspension arm will lift off the track so you can change road wheels. This here's your track chain. So before you dismantle your track and take out the tension out, you need to install your track chain. One goes from one end to the other underneath the track, and then you tighten the tension on up with this thing right here. You got to be careful with it because you got to use your cheater pipe and you can smack yourself in the face. That way when you dismantle the track, it doesn't sag too much that way you can't go and connect it again. A good old tanker bar as well. I mean, I remember having these as a pogue in the Marine Corps, and we use them for like a lot of things. This comes in handy in a lot of different applications. This here's your VPAC wand. You connect it to the tank and it has a pressurized system, so that way you can blow out the air filters essentially. This here's your circuit fire tester. What you do is you stick it in the breech and you test fire all the triggers in the tank, and then a little light will light up. Because in case you didn't know, the main gun round gets fired with electricity, so that's why loaders have to wear gloves, so that way no static electricity can set it off. Good old sockets and wrenches. My veterans, we still have the good old-fashioned gunner's roll. And we still keep this old-fashioned, ow, god damn it. And we still keep this old-fashioned light that never works and we never use. I just pricked myself with that little freaking metal part. A grease gun for general lubrication. This is very important though for track tension because it uses a piston that's filled with grease. An old tool bag and the document protectors. I'm pretty sure that have been around forever. Sledgehammer, shovel, axe, and mattock in case we got to dig out some dirt somewhere. And as tankers, we buy our own stuff to make life a little bit easier. For example, I got this automotive syringe that makes topping off fluids a dream. And I also got my own personally purchased M1 impact gun. Inside here, I got the sockets that you always need and some extra wedges and wedge bolts for the track. And all this stuff fits in 3 designated storage compartments of the tank. One of which is your hole sponson, which is right here. This is where we keep the staff sections, track jack, shovel, mattock, and track chain. And in these bins you see on the side of the turret, these are called turret sponsons. Because this is on the left side, this is the loader sponson. And it looks like this when it's empty. We keep a boot brush installed in ours, so we always wipe our feet before we get inside the turret to keep things clean and less stinky. And as per tanker tradition, the commander gets his very own sponson that he can do whatever he wants with it. But when it's actually time to go out in the tanks, there's a bunch of extra stuff that you bring that I didn't put on out today. And that stuff ends in there. Plus, also, I'm not a jerk, and I let people put their other personal stuff in there if it just makes life easier.